Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games blog Saturday review. We had all the plans ready, planning permissions had been sought and approved, contractors had been signed up, the project manager was ready and a rough schedule had been put together. We also knew what building materials we needed and where to get them, so it was time to build our Microcity by Thistroy Games. In this review I'm actually referring to the second edition of the game, which was published this year and apparently has some small differences to the first edition. Here's another city building game that I've recently acquired. It's also a small box game and is basically a deck of cards, some dice and some tokens. The game box is stuffed to the hilt with the components, but it's still small enough to fit into a jacket pocket, your handbag or rucksack. The footprint of the game itself is also relatively small, and the rulebook says that you can play it on a plane, which I haven't tried myself and I'm unlikely to try for some time to come, but I can see that it would be possible. Already there are a lot of positives here for me. Also, the games can be played in a number of ways: solo, 2-player cooperatively or 2-player competitively. I've played it in all three modes and I think they work equally well, but of course create slightly different game experiences. So here's another reason why you might want to have the game with you while you're out and about. Ultimately, the game is all about rolling dice and assigning them wisely. It sounds rather random, but you do have a great amount of control over the dice results. You can change the pip value of the dice as much as you like by spending the relevant amount of resources, which you can acquire during the game. The problem is, you also need those resources to complete your goals. So it's the usual push and pull between spending resources to get the dice values you need to get more resources, or otherwise a bigger benefit than the cost of the resources you spent in the first place. Of course, if the dice rolls go your way, then achieving your goals is a lot easier. And I must say, there were times during the games I played where I did feel that I was just lucky and didn't have to do any work. However, Microcity isn't proclaiming to be a difficult game, and I think it works. You will still find it hard to win in cooperative mode, even with all the dice roll in your favour. You still have to make some decisions, and if you get those wrong you will still lose. I think it's a good balance and makes the game feel puzzly enough to keep you wanting to keep trying until you're able to build your city before your turns run out. There really isn't much more to say about Microcity. It's a small box game, brimful with good quality components, which is pretty quick to play and will keep you entertained for a while. Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games blog Saturday review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my Patreon supporters: Royal Patron Sean Newman, Castle Guard David Miller, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan, Robin Kay and James Naylor, and Shining Lights Sarah Reed, Tim Vernick and We're Not Wizards.